All right, let's dive into the world of digital pianos. We're taking a deep dive into this awesome guide written by a musician all about choosing your first digital piano.
Sounds good.
Okay, so first off, why digital? Why not just go for a traditional acoustic piano?
Well, this guide, it really focuses on the practical stuff like space. Digital pianos are usually smaller. Some you can even move around easily.
Yeah.
And headphones, that's a huge plus.
Yeah, for sure. No more worrying about the neighbors or, anyone else in the house. You can just practice whenever. But hey, the guide mentions this musician started with a simple organ. Why an organ?
Yeah, it's interesting. They talk about how starting simple, like on that basic organ, gave him a solid foundation, helped him really get the basics without all this fancy stuff get in the way.
So like learning to cook. Right. You don't need all the gadgets right away, just mastering the basics. But I'm guessing they didn't just stick with the organ forever.
Nope, definitely not. They eventually moved on to synths, even stage pianos. It's cool, though, they actually name specific models they've played, like the Yamaha CP88 and some Nord stage versions.
Okay, so we know they're speaking from experience, not just theory. Love that. But let's back up a bit. What should someone actually look for when choosing a digital piano? What are the must-haves?
The keyboard itself, the feel of it, that's crucial. The guide really emphasizes weighted keys.
Weighted keys. Okay, I'm not a piano expert. What exactly are those?
They're basically designed to feel like the keys on an acoustic piano. You know how there's resistance.
Oh, I see. So it's not just pressing a button. You're actually building finger strength, like a finger workout.
Exactly. But even with that, the guide suggests starting with a less expensive model to start, especially if you're a beginner. No need to go all out right away.
That makes sense. Don't need to run a marathon in your first day rate. Start slow.
Yep, that's the idea. Focus on getting those basic skills down, getting comfortable with playing. And you can always upgrade later once you know what you really want.
Makes sense. Less pressure, too, if you're not worried about damaging an expensive instrument. Okay, so keyboard feel, check. What about sound? That's kind of important, right?
Totally. The guide talks a lot about that. They say look for a piano that uses high-quality samples. So it sounds like a real piano, like a really good recording of one.
Ah, okay, so capturing that richness, that depth. I'm curious, though, since they started with a simple organ, did that even have realistic piano sounds?
Well, they actually mentioned that the organ had limited sounds, but they kind of see that as a good thing in a way.
Really? How so?
It really forced them to focus on, their technique, on developing their ear for music, without getting distracted by a bunch of extra sounds.
So appreciate the simple melody before jumping into the whole orchestra. Focus on the core stuff. But I'm sure digital pianos come with all sorts of cool extras now, right?
Oh, tons of extras. But here's where the guide gets interesting. They actually say, don't get too caught up in all those extras, especially when you're starting out.
Wait, really? But all those extras seem so cool, like different instrument sounds, recording yourself.
I know, right? It's tempting. But they make a good point. All those features can be distractions when you're trying to learn the basics. It's like trying to learn, a new language while watching TV and texting. You can't focus on any one thing.
Yeah, good point. Gotta prioritize, focus on the core stuff first.
What about this touch sensitivity thing? That seems important.
Oh, definitely. The guide talks about that too. It's basically how the volume changes depending on how hard you press the keys, just like a real piano.
So it's not just hitting the right notes, it's how you hit them, adds more expression.
Exactly. And some digital pianos even let you adjust the touch sensitivity, so you can fine-tune it to how you play.
That's cool. Customized to your style.
Yeah.
But I gotta ask, did those old organs even have touch sensitivity?
Funny you should mention that. The guide actually says their first organ didn't have it, and they kind of saw it as a good thing.
Really? How so?
It forced them to really focus on like controlling their fingers, getting those dynamics right. So even a limitation, it actually helped them. Kind of like learning to draw with just a pencil before moving on to fancy stuff.
Exactly. Master the fundamentals first. Then when they did get to instruments with touch sensitivity, they could really use it well.
Okay, so starting simple, it's not just about the budget, it can actually have some unexpected benefits. But let's get back to shopping. The guide mentions 88 keys. Why is that so important?
Oh yeah, they're very clear about that. Get a full 88 key piano, no question. It's the standard. Like on an acoustic piano, you can play anything.
So don't be tempted to start with a smaller keyboard. It could hold you back later.
Exactly. 88 keys, it opens up so many possibilities. All the musical styles, you're not limited. And you're learning the right technique from the start.
Makes sense. But, digital pianos can be a bit of an investment. What about budget?
Yeah, for sure. The guide is realistic about that. They know budget's a factor, especially for beginners. But there are great digital pianos at different prices. They even suggest maybe looking at used or refurbished ones.
Good tip. Like a certified pre-owned car. Get a good deal without spending a fortune. But how do you even know where to start? There are so many options.
Right. The guide recommends checking out online reviews, comparisons, see what's out there.
Yeah.
But also try out some pianos in person if you can.
Oh, yeah, for sure. It's like buying clothes online. You never know how it'll really fit until you try it on. So try before you buy. What else?
Think about what you need. Do you need to move it around? Headphones or speakers? Things like that.
So your lifestyle, how the piano fits into your life, it's not just about the piano itself, it's about you. But those fancy synths and stage pianos the guide mentioned, did they ever regret not starting with something like that?
Actually, they say that starting with that basic organ, it gave them a unique perspective.
Oh, how so?
They learned to just enjoy playing, without all the distractions. And then when they did move on to those more complex instruments, they could really appreciate them.
So appreciate the simple black and white photo before jumping into all the colors. You develop an eye for the basics.
Exactly. And they even say sometimes those simple instruments can make you more creative. The limitations force you to think differently.
Interesting. Necessity is the mother of invention, right? Sometimes those limitations can lead to breakthroughs. But back to advice for beginners. Focusing on fundamentals, what do they recommend?
Finding the right way to learn, the right approach for you, like taking lessons, using a method book, online tutorials, whatever keeps you engaged.
Find your own path, because not everyone learns the same way, right? Some need more structure, some need more freedom. But no matter how you learn, what are the core things to focus on?
They say finger technique, hand positioning, posture, all that basic stuff. They even get into different types of weighted keys, how they can affect your playing.
So there's a lot to weighted keys, not just one type.
Yeah, they talk about how some keys are lighter, some are heavier, like an acoustic piano. And understanding those differences helps you choose the right piano for you. They even suggest trying out different types of keys to see what feels best.
Like finding the right running shoes. Good analogy. Speaking of feeling comfortable, what about rhythm? The guide talks about that too, right?
Yeah, they recommend practicing with a metronome, that thing that keeps a steady beat.
Right. I've heard of those.
It helps you develop a good sense of timing, improve your accuracy, and lots of digital pianos have them built in.
That's handy. Built-in practice, buddy. But I imagine it takes some getting used to, playing with a metronome.
Definitely. The guide says it takes practice, patience. Start slow, gradually speed up.
So start simple, build up gradually, like learning to dance. Master the basic steps first.
Yeah, good comparison. And they say practice with the metronome even when you're not playing a specific song, just scales, chords, anything. Just get used to that steady beat.
Integrate that rhythm into everything you play. Okay, the guide also says choose a piano that inspires you. What do they mean by that?
Well, listen to different pianos, see which sound you like best. They even say close your eyes, imagine playing different pieces, see what feels right.
That's a cool idea. Trying on different musical personalities, find the one that fits.
Exactly. And think about how the piano looks too. Do you like modern?
The classic.
The guide says how the piano looks can actually make you want to play it more.
So it's about the whole experience. The look, the sound, the feel. It all contributes to that inspiration. But how do you stay motivated? Learning an instrument can be tough. Any tips?
They talk about setting realistic goals, celebrating your progress. Don't just focus on the end goal. Enjoy the journey.
Yeah, that's important. It's easy to get discouraged. Celebrate the small wins along the way.
Definitely. And they say reward yourself for reaching goals. Maybe master a tough piece, learn a new technique, or even just practice consistently for a while.
Acknowledge your efforts. Yeah, it's all about that positive reinforcement. But what about this advice about not connecting your piano to a computer right away? Why not?
They say it's easy to get sidetracked by all the cool things you could do, like recording, trying different sounds, connecting to online lessons, but learn the instrument itself first.
Get the basics down before you jump into the tech stuff. Like learning to drive. You don't start on the highway, right? Practice in a safe place first.
Right. And once you have that foundation, then you can explore all the tech stuff, see how it can help you.
Like adding special effects to a movie. Get the story right first, then enhance it.
Exactly. They even talk about how they avoided connecting to a computer at first to focus on technique and listening. But once they felt good about their playing, then they started experimenting with all the tech stuff.
So use technology strategically. It's a tool, not a crutch, like a chef using spices. You got to know the basics of cooking first, then you can experiment with all the flavors.
Right. Find the tools that work for you, that help you be more creative. But the guide also talks about the piano feeling like an extension of yourself. What does that mean?
Yeah, that's interesting. Like more than just an object.
They say playing the piano is emotional. It's a way to express yourself through music. And the right piano, it responds to you in a way that feels natural, helps you be more creative.
So it's like your musical voice. The piano helps you express that.
Yeah. And they even say the right piano can be comforting, inspiring, even healing. A way to escape stress and connect with yourself.
That's a beautiful thought, like a safe space to express yourself. But how do you nurture that connection with the piano, with music itself?
They talk about creating a special space for your piano, a place just for music, where you can really focus.
Like a little sanctuary, a musical escape. I like that.
And they even say decorate it with things that inspire you.
Yeah.
Art, photos, whatever. Make it your own.
Set the stage for a truly musical experience.
And it's connected to that idea of starting simple, you know?
Oh yeah, how so?
Well, with a less expensive piano, there's less pressure. You don't have to justify a big purchase. You can just experiment, have fun.
Right. No need for a fancy studio, just a space to explore.
Exactly. And then as you get better, you can always upgrade your instrument, your space, everything.
So it's not about denying yourself nice things. It's about focusing on the essentials first, then building from there.
Okay, but how do you actually approach learning, practicing in a way that, really connects you with the music?
They talk about really listening to music, like deeply listening, not just hearing it.
Oh, I see what you mean.
Engage with the music, pay attention to the details, the melody, the rhythm, all of it.
So it's like reading a poem and really feeling it, not just reading the words.
Yeah, exactly. They even say, listen to recordings of professional pianists playing the same pieces you're learning. See how they do it.
Like a free master class. You can learn so much just by listening.
And what's interesting is they say starting with a simple piano actually helps with this deep listening too.
Oh, really? I wouldn't have thought of that.
Yeah, because when you don't have all those extra sounds and features, you focus more on the music itself.
Makes sense. It's like those minimalist paintings,
Oh.
Just a few colors, but so powerful.
Yeah.
But-
Sometimes less is more. It helps you connect with the essence of the music. Okay, so we've talked about choosing a piano, learning, practicing, all that good stuff. But for someone just starting out, what are your top 3 takeaways?
Good question. I'd say first, enjoy the journey. Don't compare yourself to others. Just focus on your own progress.
Yeah, it's easy to get caught up in comparing yourself, especially these days. But it's your journey, no one else's.
Exactly. And second, find a way to learn that works for you. Lessons, books, online, whatever keeps you going.
Be proactive. Find your own path. What's number 3?
Choose a piano that inspires you. Think about your budget, your space, all that practical stuff. But ultimately, choose one that you love, that makes you want to play.
Well said. It's about finding the right piano for you, not for anyone else. And, that's what this guide is all about. Finding that joy in playing and making music. It's not about being perfect. It's about expressing yourself.
And that's a great way to put it. Have fun, be patient, and enjoy the power of music.
Great advice. And hey, let us know what you think. What are you looking for in a digital piano? What excites you about learning? Share your thoughts, and until next time, happy playing.